Hello, good morning and welcome along to the start of a brand new week here on Ireland AM.
Indeed, it's Monday the 15th of August and you woke up this morning able to breathe a little bit more after last night's thunderstorms.
Thunderstorms.
It felt a little like there was actually air in the air.
Yeah, there's also rain, unfortunately.
I know, but we needed a bit
Bring
of...
back the
plants
sun.
needed it.
They do.
Needed
The grass is very happy. Now, plenty of drama in the Premier League over the weekend from Man United's humiliating 4-0 defeat. Oh, I love
smiling
that.
there, no?
To that feisty handshake between the Chelsea and Spurs boss yesterday. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have. Come on.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not looking. Not looking at you. Not looking at you. Not looking at you.
There you go. We're going to have all the sports news coming very shortly.
Star of stage and screen Owen Roe will be here after 8 to chat about his incredible career.
And now, since being diagnosed with dementia at just the age of 40, former Welsh rugby international Alix Popham is campaigning to make the sport safer. That's coming up at 9:20.
And Alan is over on the couch this morning. What else do we have coming up, Al?
Well, Muireann, later this hour we meet the Leaving Cert student on a mission to normalise talking about mental health. Plus, we'll have chocolate fruit pots in the kitchen and activewear on the catwalk. Now, Deric is out and about this morning. Deric, the end of the sunshine. It's raining today.
I know, I'm sorry, Al. We can say so long heat wave and the rain is back. And in fact, it's back with a bang because we have some thunderstorm activity, we have some lightning. We even, would you believe it, have a risk of flash flooding out there today. But we're down here, we're live in Fairview in Dublin right across the morning because we're off to meet one of Ireland's first robotic waitresses. She serves up to 8 people at a time. She's very busy, so we're going to be catching up with her later on this morning.
Wow. Tell you what, Deric, they're going to be taking over for us very soon as well. Okay, thanks very much, Deric.
Thanks. Cheers, Tommy. He's come on, just put in a robot. What else are we really
doing? We're like robots anyway.
We are looking for pictures, aren't we, and videos this morning.
Yes.
Of the thunderstorms last night, wherever you were. Incredible pictures and videos from Galway and Waterford. Saw amazing ones online. So if you've got anything for us, we'd love to see them. 0896 111 111. Send them on into us and we'll get them on in just a little while.
Absolutely. Get in touch. Now, let's get the headlines over to you, Cliodhna Russell.
Thanks, Tommy. A status orange thunderstorm warning remains in place across the country until 9 o'clock this morning, but will stay for some areas until 4 o'clock this afternoon. According to the warning from Met Éireann, heavy downpours of rain and hail may lead to flooding. There's also a risk of intense lightning. Not all areas will be affected by the thunderstorms. It comes after a status yellow high temperature warning during the recent heat wave.
And I must say not all areas will be affected, so some areas will stay dry, perhaps a bit cloudy than it has been the past few days. But where they do occur, there will be quite intense or torrential falls of rain, and given that the ground has been so dry lately, that will lead to some flooding. As well as that, there'll be some hail and there will be a lot of lightning associated with these as well.
In Thailand, a warning for rising water levels is in place in the northeast of the country in the coming days. Already, rescue teams have had to evacuate many locals after heavy rain led to flash floods. Thousands of properties have been destroyed in the Meisei province. At least 41 people have been killed and dozens more injured in a fire in Egypt. The blaze broke out while a service was underway in a church in the capital, Cairo.
Thick plumes of smoke rising into the sky in Cairo in Egypt. The Coptic church was packed with worshippers when the fire began. It ripped through the church, which is located in the densely populated Imbaba neighbourhood of the Egyptian capital. The blaze produced large amounts of smoke, hampering rescue efforts. The cause of the fire was not immediately clear, but an initial investigation pointed to an electrical short circuit. Dozens of people were transferred to local hospitals with many confirmed dead, including children. Many more have been injured. Eyewitnesses reported seeing children being taken to safety from a daycare facility also located in the building. An investigation into the cause of the blaze has now been launched. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
In Spain, 8 villages have had to be evacuated in the Zaragoza province in the northeast of the country, where a large wildfire is burning out of control. Firefighters are trying to contain the huge fire, but say gusty winds of up to 60 kilometres an hour are forecast. Many of those who have fled the area are being given shelter in sports centres in local towns. In China, 7 people were killed and 8 others were injured after heavy rain caused a torrent of water washing away tourists at a popular area in the southwest of the country. Eyewitnesses say the water levels in the river suddenly increased. Anne Hesh died 9 days after suffering a brain injury in a car crash. The 53-year-old had been in hospital since a crash in the Mar Vista area of Los Angeles on the 5th of August. The actress had been classified as legally dead according to California law after the crash, but was kept on life support in case her organs could be donated. In the US, 1 person has been killed and 17 others have been injured after a vehicle struck a crowd in Pennsylvania. The collision occurred outside a bar where a fundraiser for victims of a house fire was being held. Police say the suspect then killed a woman in a separate incident. A 24-year-old man has been arrested and is in custody.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, and a very good morning to you at home. If you're indeed streaming online on The Player, we're coming to you live here from Fairview in Dublin this morning, and coming up in the next wee while, we're off to meet one of Ireland's first robotic waitresses. Yeah, it's 2022. We're gone that far, so that's all to come in the next hour. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Alvaro Valera with us on cameras this Monday morning. And as you heard there with Cliodhna at the top of the news, we do have that status orange thunderstorm warning now in place for the entire country until 9 a.m. this morning. We do have some heavy pulses of rain through parts of Clare, Limerick, into parts of the Midlands, Ulster and into Leinster, with embedded thunderstorm activity, some lightning as well, with some heavy showers en route in those moderate to fresh northerly winds. Now, right across the day, that thunderstorm warning, that status orange remaining in place this time for counties Carlow, Kilkenny, Wicklow, Wexford and for all of Munster. And once again, some intense lightning for at times, some thunderstorm activity and some heavy rain embedded in all of that, leading to a risk of ongoing spot flooding. So if you are out and about, do take extra care. Top values of about 16 to 21. We may even get up to about 22 to 23 across some southern spots. Finally then tonight, the good news is that rain will clear out, so it will be mainly dry, mainly clear and settle. Those winds continuing there in that northerly airflow, and overnight lows back to 11 to 14 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in Fairview at the moment. We'll catch you back live at 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
Up next, from paying less tax to paying more insurance.
We're going to chat through the top stories making today's paper. See you in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at today's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline: staffing crisis threatens ambulance times. Urgent and emergency services are threatened by a staffing crisis in the ambulance service, endangering targets for responding to the most serious calls over the next 4 years. And this is according to a HSE report.
480,000 in line for double energy bill benefit bonus. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The government is considering a once-off double payment of €35 a month household benefits package as part of a range of cost of living measures aimed at tackling rising inflation.
The Mirror goes with 2 charged after stag party death. 2 men have been charged with violent disorder and assault following the death of a man on a stag night.
Yeah, Sun leads with that same story. Goals filmed stag do killing.
The Herald goes with luxury cars stolen to order for Russian black market. There has been a sharp rise in the number of stolen cars, with gangs stealing luxury motors here in Ireland to order for the Russian black market.
Right, I think I've had enough of us reading the
I know,
newspaper headlines
we're looking at this going, why is our face there? When
Cliodhna Russell, who can read the headlines with a bit of a technical difficulty. We've got the papers down here, but let's go to Aideen Finnegan from the How to Pivot podcast.
Good morning.
Aideen, let's get the rundown on these news stories. And I think the main one really is Leo Varadkar. He's getting a bit of a chilly response to this 30% tax rate.
There seems to be a bit of consternation now at senior government level over this plan for that Leo Varadkar. Now, it's not a plan, sorry, I should say, it's an option that's being presented by the Tax Strategy Group that would see workers hitting the higher rate of tax. So currently at the moment they'll hit it at around 36,800. That's the current cut-off. So that if you're earning €40,000, that's when the new tax band, the higher rate would kick in. Also, if it went up to 44,000, it would cost even more to the Exchequer, and it could go up to 50 or 60. That is what the bands that are laid out.
Now, OK, so we've obviously got two tax
bands at the
in
moment.
Ireland. That's from the early 1990s.
Which going a long time.
We're living in
It's quite low given the rise in wages nowadays.
In inflation, in what the value of money is, this year it cost you over 4,000 more to buy what you did last year.
Yeah.
All of this is going on, but also tax bands that haven't been changed.
Yeah.
In almost 30 years, when you're talking about you're going to be on a higher tax band if you're just under 40,000
Well, this is all
euro.
politics, of course, because Fianna Fáil aren't happy with this. They're in government together. You're in government, guys. You should be working together on this. The public,
Should have told
Fianna
me this a
Fáil
couple of years ago.
and the Public Spending Minister are pretty unhappy with this move. Apparently, according to sources speaking to the Daily Mail, Paschal Donoghue isn't that too delighted with it either. But this is something that Leo Varadkar wants to do when he begins his premiership again as Taoiseach, and that this will try and they're worried that Sinn Féin are going to take their squeezed middle voters.
OK, because this is Fine Gael's kind of target.
This is Fine Gael's target. They want to get their voters to back on side.
If I work in the Department of Revenue and it's a month before the budget and you have to have all this done by January, I'm sitting there going, start this plan 2 years ago, give us a bit of chance to get it done. But the fact is, some Fianna Fáil sources have acknowledged that that many people on low incomes are paying too much tax. And this is a quote: those people struggling on every front are looking at the fellow on welfare, living in a €300,000 house, heading off on 4 holidays a year, and they're wondering where the help is for hard-pressed working families. Now, I think that
so this is kind of playing to the gallery here.
Yeah, that's stirring it a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems kind of unlikely that they'd be able to nail this down in time for the budget at the end of September, but stranger things have happened.
But we are hearing people all the time who are they're both working in families.
Yes.
And they've got children. They are at the pin of their collar. They've got no money.
There's no doubt about it that hard-pressed families need this extra money because it could equate up to €1,000 extra in their pockets in a year. However, it's going to cost the Exchequer more to bring this in and change the tax bands.
Well, listen, when we're saying the tax band is so low and it hasn't changed in 30 years, a change would be definitely welcome. But as you say, Muireann, to be trying to do this at such short notice seems... You know, it just seems to be playing exactly party politics, which is what people are fed up of at the minute when we are going through a cost of living crisis, and people, it is really hitting them, putting food on the table, and it's only going to get worse.
But if they're talking about, right, there's 480,000 people in line for the, this is the €35 a month household benefits package that they get. They're going to give that twice. So that's going to cost so much money, whereas if you just decide to bring in a new tax band, if you're at home and you're paying the higher rate of tax and you're earning less than 40 grand and you've got 2 kids and you've got a mortgage and you're trying to pay energy and you're keeping a car on the road.
It's
like, rather than the once-off things they're giving out now, should we not be going, what can we do long term? I'd love to know.
You would think,
but the extra €35 a month, I don't think is for them. It's for over 70-year-olds, people on pensions.
It's on the
So it's actually a lot of those people who have kids who are on the higher tax bracket won't even get that.
Exactly.
Do get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you. Absolutely. Let's move on to another frustrating topic: is hospital waiting times and staffing crises.
Yes. So the Irish Patients Association, and they advocate for patients. They want to see a task force set up to tackle these chronic waiting lists in public hospitals. Now, when they say waiting lists, they don't want to talk about just numbers waiting to see and get an appointment. So we'll say you have a pain or you have some concern and your GP refers you to see a consultant in a hospital, you have to wait to see that person. So these, rather than talking about just the numbers on the waiting list, the Irish Patients Association has kind of been breaking down how long people are waiting. And it's on average, nationally, it's over 16 months to see a consultant and then undergo the follow-up operation. However, that is an average, so it varies wildly across the country. Letterkenny has the longest wait with 21 waited months. Cork and Mullingar, which was, I forget which hospital is in Cork, but Connolly and Blanchardstown and South Infirmary Cork, 7.6 months. It's a huge variation.
In Letterkenny here, you're saying 21 months to get the surgery, but if you were in pain, so if you were really struggling with a bad hip, who knows what it is, you're talking over pretty much a year before you even get to see a consultant.
Yeah.
To find out what's wrong with you, to find
Yes.
out whether you're even going to get surgery or not.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, think of how debilitating that is for people having to wait actually a year just to be seen.
And then potentially have it cancelled at the last minute.
Of course,
So, so this league table kind of really focuses on how long people are waiting, because all we hear about is the length of the list. And this really hones in on, like what you say, the life-changing...
Oh, big time. Like, you see people who are really, really struggling. I mean, people, listen, you see my parents talk about my dad's bad knee and bits of pieces, bad hips. But this is when it gets so degenerative that it's getting really, you need to be going to see a consultant and to wait a year. Yeah, it's their health.
Yeah, it's where everyone's going.
And the fact that some hospitals can manage it really well. 7.6 months in Connolly and Blanchardstown in South Infirmary, Cork.
So what's going on there?
What's going on there?
There is another health story that's making the headlines as well today, and this is a staffing crisis is threatening ambulance times because there's a target of 19 minutes, say if you're in a life-threatening case, it's like a cardiac thing, that an ambulance is meant to be able to get to you in 19 minutes. That is not happening.
No. So, well, I mean, it is happening. It is still happening in a majority of cases, but it's slipping.
40%,
and they're starting to worry about that now. And the Irish Times has seen this paper that hasn't been published. So it's been looking at the report warns that based on current modelling, compliance with the target to respond within 19 minutes to life-threatening cases other than cardiac or respiratory arrest could be considerably less than 40% by 2027 if moves aren't made to beef up the staff numbers. So they had 83 people leave. I mean, this is kind of burnout after COVID is what it's being assigned to.
Is this just for cities or is this countryside as well? Because I know like local hospitals are just getting squeezed. So if somebody lives, could be 20 minutes away from the local hospital as well.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're going to have to try and ring up to try and convince them that things are bad enough that you're going to have to send an ambulance.
Yeah. It's the pandemic has really exacerbated the problem as well.
But important to say, they're at the pin of their collar
Exactly.
as well.
Sure,
Ambulance drivers, like it's been the calls have gone up hugely since 2019. So we completely understand that.
The HSE did respond to that, by the way. I don't know if you want to mention that they did play it down that the 19 minutes doesn't have any clinical.
If you're going through a heart attack, you want someone. I'm pretty sure I'd like someone to be there as quickly as
say
possible.
that you've stopped breathing to try and get to the stage where an ambulance has to come.
Can we really quickly get onto this? And this is about, so you know during COVID, when no one was in their cars and there was no accidents, there was nothing going on and it was all great. No one's car insurance really went down that much, did it?
Not really, no.
No, it was kind of the same,
that.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I wonder why that happened.
However,
straight away our car insurance could be going
Going to go back up?
it looks like it could be going back up purely based on the number of luxury cars that are being stolen and not recovered. And Ralph Regal has this in The Independent today, that they're being stolen to order by Russian operatives.
We've all seen Gone in 60 Seconds. We know that's how it works now, doesn't it? That's how it
You
goes.
kind of think your brand new fancy car, it should be impenetrable. But they stick out the laptop into it.
Unbelievable high-tech capabilities here to disable an immobiliser, to kind of block the signal of the car being closed with the fob on a keyring, and to take the car. They're called ghost thefts because they literally just disappear. They could be going up north. They think they're working with an Armagh-based gang, which either brings the car intact abroad or it chops it up for parts. And that the increase is down to the war in Ukraine and the sanctions on Russia and the fear that they won't be able to get the cars or the parts for them.
What isn't going to be blamed on the war in Ukraine?
Stolen
Like, they've got
luxury
enough going on.
vehicles have soared in Russia amid fears that sanctions over the Ukraine invasion. But we're talking about a 77% increase in car robberies
in the first
just
quarter.
this year.
In the first quarter
77%.
of this year.
Yeah,
so we're in August now. So it could be,
But at the same time, so all insurance companies are going, because this number of cars are going...
Because they're valued at over 100k.
€100,000
And they're
is
not
what the car...
recovered.
So everyone's car insurance is going to go up as a result, even though no one was on the road for almost 2 years. There was very few road accidents and no one's insurance went down during that time. It's really fair, isn't it? It just makes so much sense how all these places work.
Have you got a call from the insurance company? Let us know. Aideen Finnegan from the How to Pivot podcast. Great to have you with us this morning.
0896 111 111. If you want to let us know how much you're paying for insurance, how much your kids are paying for insurance, if you are in your early 20s, what's going on there? We'd love to hear from you this morning. It's madness.
Up next, it's been a busy old weekend in sport.
Yes, we chat through. We're going to shake hands, not look at each other the whole way through sport. It's coming up after the break.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, studies have shown a massive spike in teenage mental health crisis since the pandemic started.
Our next guest started a podcast at 17 to encourage her peers to talk about it. That is the name of her podcast. Please welcome Emmeline O'Regan-Farnew. Thank you so much, Emmeline, for joining us this morning. How are you doing?
Lovely
I'm
to
good.
see you.
Thank you.
You're just 18 years old now. You know, you're waiting for you've just done your leaving cert.
Yeah.
So when everything happened, you were 16 years old, in school. How did you and your peers react to the lockdown, and did you notice an effect on mental health fairly quickly?
Definitely. I think everyone went through such, a different experience when it came through the pandemic. Like, no matter who I talked to, be it adults or teens or, even young kids about their experience, everyone is different. And it had a massive impact on absolutely everybody when it came to their mental health and their well-being. And it was such a pivotal moment, I think, for a lot of people in their lives. And everyone became, really grew in that time frame. So, yeah, it definitely impacted everybody, and it really sparked, the conversation for me and within my family and my friends about mental health and our own well-being.
And do you think that the pandemic, I think, definitely has opened that conversation more? People are more willing to talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the name came from, just talking about it. Because it is so important, and people forget that sometimes. I think we often hear these things and we think we talk about it to other people, but really it's actually about sitting down and understanding what that person has gone through and try to communicate with them more openly and hear their story and learn from others. It's really interesting.
I'm just wondering, from your point of view, and I do realise that, when we're sitting here and we're talking to psychologists and we're talking about mental health, sometimes does it feel for young people that you are talked about rather than spoken to in relation to what's going on in your lives?
Definitely. And I think that, when it comes to psychologists and doctors and stuff, it's always interesting to hear, the medical point of view and the professional point of view. But it's also really interesting to hear the everyday person's point of view, because everyone has a story to tell and everyone has, gone through something within their mental health. So to sit down and chat to people who are just normal everyday people, so authors, musicians, and just teenage people, to hear their stories and to hear what it's gone through, you can relate to them almost better. Right. I find, and that's what makes you feel that you're not alone. Like, if someone else has gone through it that's a little bit like you, you're like, you know what, I think I'm the same, and that does spur the conversation even more.
And you were saying Talk About It is your podcast, and it was unfortunately some tragedies that made you really want to do this podcast. Yeah,
so 2 teens in my local area both died very, very suddenly in the November of 2020, and I was just really shocked that, mental health, the conversation wasn't there. Like, it was addressed, but no one was really talking about it. So I kind of said to my parents, I was like, look, I feel like I need to do something. So that's how the podcast kind of came about. And it was just, it started with a tragedy, but I've dedicated this podcast to those 2 people, and I'll always do it for those people and to spur the conversation about mental health. But so much good has come out of it, and I've met so many wonderful people, and people have come up to me and told me that the conversations have meant a lot to them, and that just means the world. I always said if it just helped one person, you'd be doing something. But yeah, it spurred from really sad times, but I think something really good came out of it.
It feels like you're quite open. You're quite willing to talk to people regardless of age about how they're feeling, how you're feeling. You obviously have a good relationship with your parents.
Yeah, definitely.
Can that be where, those teenage years can be quite difficult? Because some people, as much as they might talk to their friends, they won't talk to the adults in their life who are in the position to do something about it, who are in the position to go, we need to get you help, we need to, is that a bit of an issue when you're going through those very turbulent teenage years?
Yeah, I think, it's about the generation that we're in. I think us as a generation have just become more aware that we need to talk about our mental health. So sometimes talking to people who are similar in age to you, it's almost easier because, you're similar of age and you're gone through, we're all 16, 17, we're all teenagers when we went through the pandemic. So we're all, on the same boat in that sense. And then with our parents, it was a different story altogether, because it was just that conversation just swept under the rug when they were our age. So I think it really is about just opening our minds to having that conversation with everybody around us. So when I talk to people on the podcast, some people are parents and they're great with their children. Other people are becoming parents or want to be parents, or some people are 16, 17 and just have gone through things that you wouldn't think 16, 17-year-olds have gone through. So it is really about just talking about it to anyone. It's all walks of life, and that's what's so important about it.
Yeah. And did you find at the start it was more difficult for people to come forward to talk to you, and it may be easier now?
Yeah, definitely. I think when I was starting, it was just a really odd time. Like, the conversation was only really starting to happen. And I was just saying there that, in the past few weeks and months, more people have approached me saying, actually, I have listened to your podcast before. Could I come on in the future? Or I have a story to tell, or, I have music. I play young musicians on the podcast as well. And I always love when people reach out to me going, oh, can I play my music on? I wrote this song about when I was in a tough time, a dark time, and
place,
I really want to share it. And that's so powerful. Do you know what I mean? To be able to share those people's stories.
And I mean, he's like, I don't have to do research. Fantastic. Come on. Yeah, absolutely.
Come in,
don't have
play
to go
your
making all the
music,
phone
right.
calls.
Exactly,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Obviously, this year, we're in those waters where we've got later results for the Leaving Cert. So the CEO, your results are on the 2nd of September.
That's it, yeah.
So this is, like, how is everyone? How are you and your friends? Because by the time you get your CAO results, you're in the second week in September.
Yeah.
And then there's a massive scramble, like we all know what's about to happen. The housing crisis, the accommodation crisis.
Yeah.
Are you all up to 90? How is everything?
Yeah, it's kind of at the moment, I talked to some friends about this during the week. We're all just trying to keep each other calm. I think at this stage, it's almost like keep yourself busy until the 2nd of September and just keep going. A lot of people have their debts to look forward to, so that's definitely something to calm everyone's nerves. But it was, it was a really tricky time during that, study period, because you still had the ongoing effects of COVID. You still had, the mental health conversation happening, so many people getting stressed, and then the situation with points. And it was just all this kind of accumulating thing. But I think we've all just realised that, we all have to be here for each other now, especially through the pandemic. I think we all realised that we have to stick together.
And with your friends and that wider circle of students that are you hearing about the accommodation crisis and they're really struggling to find somewhere to stay?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean,
Really?
the prices are just, they're astronomical. Like, it's scary to hear. Like, I'm very lucky myself, and I know a few people have a place to live because we knew where we wanted to go early. But for people who don't know what they want to do or don't know the area they're going to be located in, it's tough. It's nearly impossible to find a place to live. So it's a challenging time, definitely, but we'll see how it hopefully improves in months and years.
And hopefully you get what you want.
Yeah.
You want to go to Dublin and do journalism, broadcasting.
Yeah.
She's already got it all done from the podcast. And the podcast is called Talk About It, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. And I know that you're back to it. You took a month off, fair play to you.
Yes, I did.
And you're back again doing your thing. So you can find it wherever you get it. Ameline O'Regan Farrew, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much, guys.
We'd love to hear from you, 0896 111 111, in relation to that, about how you're finding it chatting with teenagers, or if you are a young person yourself. Has it been incredibly stressful? Because we're going to be talking about
We definitely will be talking about over the next few weeks the accommodation crisis.
Yeah.
Now on the way after 8, star of Stage and Screen, Owen Roe is stopping by.
Plus Deric meets Dublin's first. It's just Dublin's first. I don't know if it's Ireland's first robot.
He's
waiter.
saying waitress.
Oh,
all
he
morning.
gendered the waiter
Yes,
already.
already.
He has, hasn't he? Yeah. We'll talk to you shortly. Welcome back to Monday's Ireland AM.
Yes, good morning to you. If you've just joined us, still to come from playing at a World Cup to meeting Nelson Mandela, Alix Popham's dementia diagnosis has robbed him of the memories of the great career he had in rugby. The retired rugby star is going to join us after 9 o'clock.
And on the way shortly, we'll be joined by one of Ireland's foremost film, TV and theatre actors. Owen Roe sits down with us at 8:15.
Plus, later on, we're going to find out about a new programme to get Ireland schools growing and give children a hands-on lesson on where their food food comes from.
You're mad into that, aren't you?
I love a bit of garden. Not very good at it though.
But would you do it with the kids? Like,
I
would you
think it's a
start getting the
brilliant
cress
idea.
seeds and all that?
I think it's a brilliant idea. Get
Yeah.
kids into schools, learning world. It's great. Really good
Do it
initiative.
at home. And speaking of food, of course, let's find out what's going on in the kitchen this morning. Alan?
Thank you very much. Yes, Sinead Delahunty is here with us with a sweet treat this morning.
That's it, Alan.
What have you got for us?
So we've got some lovely chocolate mousse pots with plums are coming into season, so we're going to do just some lightly pan-roasted plums with it.
Oh, lightly pan-roasted plums. And I see that it's the dark chocolate. It's the good stuff.
The good stuff's happening this morning, that's it.
Okay, looking forward to that. Now, staying with the theme of food, Deric is in a restaurant with some very special friend this morning. Deric, who have you got there?
Yes, Al, I have a very special friend. In fact, the rain has come down here in Fairview in Dublin. But Al, as you mentioned, we're outside Sembazuru Japanese restaurant here in Fairview. We're off to meet one of Ireland's first robotic waitresses. Ni hao. Good morning, guys. This is the Bella Bot. Now, she doesn't complain. She doesn't get COVID. She doesn't look for a pay rise. She doesn't even want holidays. She is the perfect employee. And she even talks back to you as well. So we're going to be catching up with the crew in another wee while. Good girl. Shinshi. Shinshi.
Heaven forbid workers should have
you,
rights. It's terrible, isn't it? How dare we look for rights?
Hey, that's going to get us
Take a few
out of
holidays.
rights. I tell you what,
My
I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more from Deric and if the food arrives cold or warm. Would it malfunction and have to go out in the rain? That could be it. Anyway.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. Of course, we're live here in Fairview in Dublin, right across the moor. Now, coming up in the next wee while, we're off to meet one of Ireland's robotic waitresses. We're 20 to 2022, we're gone that far. So that's all to come in and around 8:45. She chats back as well. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather slipping past 8 o'clock here this morning. And as you heard there in the top of the news, that status orange thunderstorm warning in place for the entire country until 9 o'clock. We are seeing some heavy pulses of rain and thunder, in fact, through parts of the Midwest into central, eastern and northern areas this morning. So a proper return to rain out there now this Monday in those moderate to fresh northerly winds. Now, right across today, that status orange thunderstorm warning remaining in place for Carlow, Kilkenny, through Wicklow, Wexford and for all of Munster. That remains with us until 4 p.m. this evening. Again, plenty of thunderstorm activity, some lightning there embedded for good measure, so keep an eye on your pets, and coupled with all of that, some very heavy downpours of rain as well. So we could see a risk of flash flooding, spot flooding in place because the ground is very, very hard. Very little soakage out there over the last week or so, with top values there of about 16 to 22, even 23 in some spots. Finally then tonight, the good news is that all that rain would clear out. In behind it will be mainly dry, clear and settled. So an improving start. Not much in the way of sunshine into Tuesday, but a good deal of cloud cover to break our way into tomorrow morning, and overnight lows there back to 9 to 14 degrees. So that's how we're shaping up here in Fairview at the moment. We'll catch you again back live at 8:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
It's time now to take a look at today's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. Its headline, staffing crisis threatens ambulance times. Urgent and emergency services are threatened by a staffing crisis in the ambulance service, endangering targets for responding to the most serious calls over the next 4 years. This is according to a HSE report.
480,000 in line for double energy bill benefit bonus. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The government is considering a once-off double payment of €35 a month household benefits package as part of a range of cost of living measures aimed at tackling rising inflation.
The Mirror's front page, 2 charge after stag party death. 2 men have been charged with violent disorder and assault following the death of a man on a stag night.
The Sun leads with that same story. Gowls filmed stag do killing.
The Herald goes with luxury cars stolen to order for Russian black market. There has been a sharp rise in the number of stolen cars, with gangs stealing luxury motors here for the Russian black market.
The Examiner leads with budget hope of 30% tax brackets fades. Public Expenditure Minister Michael McGrath has played down chances of a new 30% tax bracket being in place by next month's budget.
The Daily Mail leading with that. Also, Cabinet divided over 30% tax rate. Fine Gael ministers have issued a fierce defence of Leo Varadkar's plan for a new 30% tax rate in the wake of some in Fianna Fáil dismissing it as a stunt.
Yeah, well, that's what we were just discussing with Aideen Finnegan, that it does seem just plain politics here, Alan, and some of the texts are coming in
some of the
saying-
texts coming in, and we'd like to know at home, would you like a 30% tax bracket? I'm sure a lot of people would. And we have a text here, due back to work after maternity leave, 1,000 a month for childcare, not entitled to anything extra, subsidies or grants, because we earned 1,000 over the cut-off limit.
Wow.
We are hard-working people who don't claim any benefits, and we are struggling. We worked out that my husband would be nearly better off if he was let go from his job so he could claim social welfare and get all the benefit that goes with being on social welfare.
Right, and Leo Varadkar, I think, isn't he getting a backlash because he came out and said, you know, for people who get up early and go to work in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
See, you don't want this sort of people who are on social welfare versus, you know,
No, of
people
course
like
you don't.
it shouldn't be like we should all be anyway. You know, it's
We have another text. Of course, tax changes need to be made. The workers never get any benefits at all, and the reason money is in the Exchequer this year is down is higher tax takes than expect from people who worked hard all throughout the pandemic. There you go. Zero increase in welfare as businesses are crying out for staff. Anyone on long-term welfare should be investigated as to why they cannot take up these jobs. Increase pensions and child benefits to help with the rising cost of living.
0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you. And also, just quite quickly, we were talking about car insurance is due to go up due to the number of luxury cars that have been stolen. The number of car burglaries is up 77% in the first quarter of this year.
Yeah.
My mother is 84. She's driving for 64 years, has never made a claim. Last year, her insurance was 537. This year, it's 1,233. I asked the insurance company to take into consideration she hardly uses the car and only uses it to go to the shop. And the answer was tough, essentially. It's because of her age. And I was saying earlier on that my mum's insurance went up after my dad died because it had been a two-person policy.
Really?
And they rang and she was just like, what's going on? And he wasn't there anymore.
what
They're
can
like,
you do?
well, it's
I mean,
two-person policy, it's gone up. I was like, she's lost her husband and you're increasing her insurance. I thought it was disgusting.
And the problem with this is because she's 84, you can't even shop around for that because most people won't even probably take them on at that stage.
But there's no public transport. Like, she's living independently, doing everything they have. It's
brilliantly.
awful.
And just to
know,
get that.
Yeah, 0896 111 111. If you have a similar story, please do get in touch.
Now, up next, much love, star of stage and screen, Owen Roe will be joining us.
Yeah, see you after the break.
Welcome back. Now, our next guest, long-standing career has seen him appear across film, TV and theatre.
Yeah, stage and screen star Owen Roe is here for a chat with his latest turn, treading the boards. Owen, good morning to you.
Morning. How are you?
We'll get to treading the boards very shortly. I mean, if you think about your career, you think of all the way back to Michael Collins. You have Intermission, you have Vikings.
Not back to 1922. which was- but
Not the handover in Dublin Castle.
No.
You weren't there.
No, I wasn't around for that.
You're not sticking up
that
our
wasn't that for that.
pictures.
Oh, man, because I was thinking, you're looking so well.
Thank you very much.
That's what I was going to say. But it's actually been Fair City that's got you as this household name, really, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if a household name is the word, but I did have Fair City for a while, yeah. What was strange was that, you know, you can go about, I've been doing this for 40 years as an actor, and, you know, you go about their business and nobody really pays much attention to you, and after 2 days of being on Fair City, you couldn't walk down Grafton Street and people were abusing you or saying hello or whatever, you know, so it was all that kind of thing.
Because there is always I always love the reaction that you do get for such a small country.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Of people straight in your face, I don't like you.
I got that, and in other words as well, it was said to me, but it was an old lady said to me, I don't like you. And I said, I'm not that bad. And then she said, off. I said, oh, really? Okay. So there was that kind of response.
How delightful.
Yeah, so you'll get that.
You're obviously doing a good job.
Well, I wasn't a very nice person in the series. I was a grumpy old doctor. But people do feel that you're part of the furniture. Same old thing.
Is there a snobbery towards soaps? Like, is it something like when you've been part of such big productions to then go into the soaps? You know, is it something that you've enjoyed?
I have enjoyed it, and I
regular?
mean, it's an earner. You know, I'm a jobbing actor. I'm not. I don't have the luxury of being a snob about things. So, I mean, it's also part of what you do. If you do theatre, if you do soap, if you do film, you know, it's multifaceted, and you should vary your career. Why not? You know? So it's, no, I don't have, as I say, the luxury to be snobbish about stuff.
Because that is funny when you're on the screen. You know, that is people are just, you know, they think of you as, oh, well, sure, he's a star, he's a celeb, because, you know, you're on the television. But it's quite interesting that you have been able to vary your career so much and doing something right now, The Steward of Christendom.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a play that I think people thought would never come back to the stage. Can you tell us about it?
Well, it was done in 1995, I think, with Donald McCann, the late great Donald McCann. And it was became an iconic production because, well, it was his last, before he died, it was the last thing he did. But it was also such an incredible performance. And people kind of felt, and Sebastian, who wrote the play, was at the time, felt, you know what, we'll leave it there and we won't take it out.
Sebastian Barry, the writer.
Yeah. So they left it, and there was a kind of a sense of, no, we'll let it rest with Donald because it was such a memorable performance. And I think it's very honourable. But at the same time, when you read the play and you see the language that's there and the character that's there, you can't deny older guys like me coming up of something that I'd really like to do before I say goodbye to theatre or whatever, you know. But it's an amazing piece. It requires a lot of stamina. It's full on. It's a fascinating character. And so eventually we did a reading of it, a public reading, and then after that, Sebastian said, OK, well, let's do it.
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back, yeah. So now it's out there. So anybody who wants to do it in the future can, I suppose.
And what an opportunity for you to be involved in. But you just mentioned there before you say goodbye to theatre. I mean, is that something, because you had some health complications recently as well?
A year ago I had a bypass, a quintuple bypass. So we went for the whole makeover. And I've never felt better, I have to say, since. There was, and I was in hospital, trussed up like a turkey, thinking, what'll I do now? Is this it? Is this it? And that's what you do. And I said, no, I really want to do something pretty big and special, and to prove to myself, at least, that it's not over, you know. And be careful what you wish for, because I got this, and it's an amazing, but it's quite a part to play every night, and it's quite tiring, but it's very, very satisfying, really.
Because it, as you say, it is taking an awful lot out of you, which is what theatre does. But tell us about the story. If people are going to go to see it, what are they going to? Well, they're going to see. Because we're going back to 1922.
Yeah, it could sound. I'm not, telling you the details. I don't want to sound dusty. It's like 1922. In 1932, you find this man in a nursing home in Baltinglass, and he's there, and he's abused, and he's like forgotten, pretty much. But he starts to go through his life, and we have memories of his children, his 3 daughters. His wife has died. He's brought those up, and his history with the Dublin Metropolitan Police, and the difficulties that he had. And he was a royalist. You know, he was a big fan of Queen Victoria. There's a kind of a love letter in the middle of the play about Victoria, and so he was hated for this. And we go through all that, and and then he's present at the. Well, first of all, he arrested Jim Larkin in 1913, and then he goes through the 1922 handover to Dublin Castle to Collins. So that's all part of it. Now, it's not a history lesson. It's more about his relationship with his daughter, and he lost his son as well in the First World War, and him coming to terms with that on his own in his ward or cell, feels like it. And it's quite moving, really is very moving. And it's about, it's more of a domestic drama in some ways. I mean, all the history's there. Yeah. But it's about relationship between father and their children, father and his children.
And I suppose that's something that you can relate to as well.
Exactly.
With your own and when you have a quintuple bypass like that, I suppose it makes the family very close together. Your wife, Michelle, who's a real established writer herself, was she happy to see you going back to work?
Oh yeah, of course. And I mean, it took the year really to get. Oh, of course she was, but she was happy to see that. Thank God I came out without any complications. You know? And I mean, if anyone is told that they have to have this operation, I mean, you can't generalise, but not to be too downhearted about it. I mean, I've never felt better in years. Haven't felt better in years. Good in years. Yeah. It's actually a good feeling. It's not the
Yeah.
end. I'm 63 now, and it's a good time to be, get the overhaul.
Get the overhaul, that's it. Well, you said it was quite insidious. Like, it's the sort of thing that in our heads, when we
Yes.
think there's something wrong with the heart, that you're going to know straight away.
You always think you're going to go, like,
Yeah.
no, this was like me feeling very tired, nauseous, and wondering what the hell was going on. And then my blood pressure went sky high, and I went in for blood pressure, and then after scans and bits and pieces like that, they said, look, we think you may need a bypass. I came out, and about 6 months later, I was back in and said, go for the bypass. So I did. I could see it on screen.
You could see it on screen.
Where the damage was done.
Yeah.
Wow. But it was so they gave me that, and it's a period. You take your time to come back, and when you do, it's a good feeling to feel that. And I made all lifestyle choices before that. I stopped drinking years ago, and food was we had a very good diet.
Yeah.
Relatively good diet. And I just thought I'm doing all the right things. Where am I
Why
going
did
wrong?
this happen?
Is this maybe just because I gather you're a bit of a news junkie as well?
I am, yes.
So you're just watching.
Is that the blood
what's going
pressure?
on with politics and in the world at the minute? I mean, that would rise anybody's
I know,
blood pressure.
you're there at 2 a.m, flashing on the news, and you go, "What am I doing? I can't help any of these people." So you go straight to bed, and then you put on the news on the 24 hours
but
on the radio.
it would make your blood pressure rise.
It would,
I
I know. I've taken a more balanced view of that now than I used to.
Have you made it? Because I know that I'd be one of those people who shouts at the television.
Yeah,
You're looking at something, you're like, you literally. Was it someone here? I think it was Pete that said he was like, "There's nothing we can do about certain situations." And it just gets into your soul, doesn't it?
It does, and nowadays the news is just like one thing after another after another. You do need to take a break from it every so often.
Get out to the garden.
Yeah, and it's not as funny anymore. Donald Trump's gone. All the comedy's been taken out of it. So, but
he's just left the mess behind.
Yeah, I know.
Don't say that. He could be back.
I know.
Please.
But then garden then became like your oasis almost.
Well, it was. I mean, my wife now will be laughing at this because she's the one who does most of it these days. But
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I just have been busy.
He's busy. He can't be busy. He's got the heart. He can't do all the work.
We love our garden definitely, and we are planting the odd thing, and she's doing most of the work now, I have to say. But no, I get back into that once I've stopped. Steward of Christendom.
More time.
Because we're going on tour as well with this as well. So
you're going to Cork, going to the Everyman, you're going to the Lime Tree in Limerick.
That's right. So that's coming up in September. I think it's the 6th to the 10th is the Cork one.
Yes.
And then Limerick is the
13th to the 17th.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Good. So
be in the Lime Tree.
So I'll come back and do a bit of gardening then.
And it's nice being on the gate again. Is it because you've got full theatres?
I love that. Yeah. I mean, it's doing so well. And I thought the weather, nobody's going to be coming in. They are, and you see them fanning themselves. But it's they are, and the response has been overwhelming. I can't tell you. I didn't expect this kind of response to display. I did, but not as much, not as overwhelming as it is.
Which is fantastic.
Fantastic.
And the rain's here now.
Yes.
So they'll all be queuing up to get the tickets.
I hope so.
It's called The Steward of Christendom. It's back on the stage, first time since the 90s, since Owen McCann did it.
Yes.
It's at the Gate Theatre in Dublin until Saturday the 3rd of September. Then it's going to the Everyman in Cork from 6th to the 10th of September, and the Lime Tree Theatre in Limerick from the 13th until the 17th. Owen Roe, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Looking
fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous.
Even all the way back to those Michael Collins days. You're flying. That's a laugh. Now, still to come, chocolate fruit pots on the menu, and Deric meets a robot waiter.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thanks very much, Anne-Marie. We're live here in Fairview, Dublin this morning. We're going to be catching up with the Bella bot robot. That is all to come in and around 8:45, so hang with us for that. You'll be fascinated. Anyway, we'll take a quick look at weather slipping past 8:30. A showery start in the capital, and in fact, plenty of rain now hitting parts of the Midlands, the Midwest, and into northern areas this morning. So do keep the rain gear handy with plenty of thunderstorm activity out and about too. Now, right across this afternoon, that status orange thunderstorm warning remaining in place for Carlow, Kilkenny, Kilkenny into Wexford and Wicklow. Munster not escaping either. Plenty of thunderstorm activity, some lightning embedded there for good measure as well. So do keep an eye on your pets with some very heavy rain and that risk of flooding as well. Top values of about 16 to 22 degrees. And finally then tonight, mainly dry, clear and settled. That rain pushing out. So good news as we work our way into tomorrow morning with overnight lows back to 10 to 14 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up in Fairview at the moment. Come back to us live at 8:45.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The quote devil's always got one hell of a quote.
Inspired by nature, powered by light. Becco Harvest Fresh sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Seasonal fruit. Now, would you like a nice sweet treat? Well, we have it in store for you this morning.
We sure have. Sinead Delahunty is here with some chocolate fruit pots on the menu. Good morning to you, Sinead.
How are we doing, guys?
Good.
So,
Thank you.
Something just to brighten up all our Mondays
And
with.
this is very simple, isn't it?
Incredibly simple. So
Okay.
Very, like...
I said, Tommy will have
jumping
this
the gun
gone in
here
2
now.
seconds.
In you go. Go on. Go
See
for
that?
a taste.
Can we get a close-up of that?
It's like a shot.
Tommy Bow will have that gone, literally, in one mouthful. That will be gone in
A
one
shot
mouthful.
of chocolate. But you don't want much more for chocolate mousse, do you?
Say again?
You don't want much more for chocolate mousse.
Absolutely not, yeah.
No.
So this is a 2-ingredient chocolate mousse. So I'm starting off with just some creme fraiche.
2 ingredients.
That is it.
Right.
So just some
There's
creme
more than
fraiche.
that.
Wait. So some creme fraiche, just loosened it down. Just on a couple of little bubbles are coming on the top of it. And then I've just added in the chocolate.
That's it.
And you just mix. So you
Wow.
can see here, it's just turning from, white to a bit of chocolate, and now we'll
Well,
go
that's
fully
all for the
dark.
cookery section then. So we
Thank you. Join us tomorrow. The dark chocolate, is it
I'm
essential
going
that
with
you have
dark.
chocolate?
No, again, your preference. This could be white chocolate. You could do a mix.
okay.
Up to you. Yeah, so I'm using dark, but definitely I would say like something over 60% would be really good.
Yeah.
You do want that little kick of richness to it.
do you though? I don't. You see, I'm not mad into dark chocolate.
Well,
So
see,
would you
what
do,
we've
you
got-
do the white chocolate
I
or
do
the milk chocolate?
Milk
definitely,
chocolate.
yeah.
Listen, over to you. You could
Yeah.
do a mix, which is always nice. So I've literally just mixed the two here together. The chocolate is fully melted down, nice glossy colour. And the thing is then just to take it off the heat. Just
Okay.
let it settle. So with that then, obviously you have something a little bit different. So I'm really about like cooking with the seasons. So we're coming almost, we're kind of in autumn
Don't
at the
say
minute.
it.
I
Don't say it.
know.
Don't say it.
We
Still
like to think we're still in summer.
middle of summer.
So plums are coming into season in Ireland. Loads of plum trees around. Anyone who has apple trees at the minute will know you're going to have a
Our
bumper
neighbour
crop.
has an apple tree and all the apples there. We were, myself and Carla, looking at it the other day going, are they going to pick those apples or are they just going to fall and go to waste?
Yeah,
Probably
some
still a
will
bit
fall.
early, is it?
But the thing is, like, if they do fall, you just get them as they're
Yeah.
falling, So you can take them up off the ground. Again, another good one to stop food waste. Any apples that are a little bit bruised or anything like that from being windfalls. The thing is to make crumbles with them or something like this would be perfect.
What's gone in there now? So you're
So-
melting some butter and what was that?
That was a little bit of cinnamon.
Oh, cinnamon.
So again, this is a really good one.
I can't taste any cinnamon in this now at all.
Well, it's just on your plums. Again, you could put it into your chocolate.
Yeah.
Cinnamon chocolate is really good. Likewise, chili, anything like that, a little bit of difference. So literally adding in our plums now and just getting the heat right up, and they're just going to soften down. The juices from the plums is going to come out and just caramelize
So you're saying
everything.
whatever fruit you like, but like what other fruit could you possibly put that in now?
Yeah, so again, as we were saying, the apples. So we're coming into
apples.
apple season, would be really good. Pears are fab. If this
And would
is
you cut the
earlier in
apple
summer-
up and fry it like this as well?
Exactly.
And the pear you could cut up and do this.
And this is the same principle that is really good for putting on top of pancakes. Really, really nice, like caramelised apples or plums or even bananas.
Now, with the
Use the
pears,
same
would you
principle.
be a bit more careful with the pears? The pears might go too soft, would they?
Just literally keep moving them in the pan and keep
All
an
right.
eye. So don't
Okay.
walk away. While your creme fraiche was heating up there, you could be doing this step and again let them cool before they go on top. Yeah.
Because I can imagine the apples, you just throw them in, they'd be grand, but I thought the pears might just wilt very quickly or whatever.
Yeah, again, just keep a close eye, you know, and again, what I would say is take them off the heat a little bit early because they will keep softening in the pan, you know, so the residual heat.
Why would you just want to kind of have them nice and soft and like...
Add that little bit extra flavour to it.
You're putting the cinnamon and everything in it.
Cinnamon, like, is really, really good with plums or apples, we were saying, or likewise pears. But earlier then in the summer when we have gorgeous berries, you know, I would just stick simply with the berries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice berry compote, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But just even fresh berries. So literally just divide it then into your glasses and then top then with your fruit. Again, I would let these set for a little bit in the fridge. So again, these are a good one to have done like ahead.
They're a great one when you see that, like, come dine with me or something.
Oh, yeah, they
always
just
make
do.
these.
Exactly, yeah.
In the fridge, it's
early.
done, yeah.
Exactly. So
but then you would do
really
that,
nice
put that in the fridge, but then just do your little fruit.
Again, the fruit could be done ahead. You know?
But it might be nice to serve it warm, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, either or. You could pop this back into the microwave, you know, and it would heat up like in 30 seconds. So again, you could have everything really, really, really well prepped ahead. So it's then just very effortless.
It's handy for the summer, isn't it? If the sun is still shining, it's gorgeous as well. And then you have the fruit.
And a little bit of nut on top or something like that, so for a little bit of added crunch.
It's not really that unhealthy, is it?
No, like, you know, everything in moderation really is the key thing. You know, a little bit of chocolate, actually, you're getting your dairy in there with the crème fraîche.
Have you enjoyed that?
Then a bit of fruit.
Gone.
A shot.
A shot.
Shot of chocolate. Start the day. That's
yummy. Thank you very much.
Sinead, that's lovely.
Thanks
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. They're serving up the rest for the crew there. One for everyone in the audience. Now, up next, speaking of food, we cross live to Deric, where he's finding out about a robot waiters who are helping with staff shortages.
Yeah, we'll see after the break.
Inspired by nature, powered by light. Becco Harvest Fresh sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Now, from smart speakers to hoovers, robots are indeed all around us. It's like I am every single Monday morning. Can't emote. Deric is meeting one of Ireland's first robot waiters. But of course he is. Over to you, Deric.
Yes, Muireann, we're having a very futuristic morning, I have to say, here in Fairview. And we're saying good morning to Bella 1 and little Bella 2 here. Bella, she's very chatty, isn't she? Where did the idea of BellaBot come from?
We first see the BellaBot on TikTok, and after we said it's very, very interesting. And after that, we can search some information on the internet. Yeah, and we found there have the different countries also BellaBot.
Okay, so you saw it on TikTok, and you were like, wow, we need this in our little restaurant. So you went and searched online. Where did you find her?
We find it from China. Okay. Yes.
And then you brought her over. How much was she?
8,000 euro.
Okay, 8,000 euro. Yes. And no, the robot, not you. And tell me, how is she interacting with the waiting staff?
Oh, and BellaBot is a carrier in our restaurant, and she can bring some food or some plate in and out to the kitchen. Yeah, so she's our friend to the average staff.
And we have all the laser positioning here in the restaurant as well.
Yes, that's why BellaBot can sit every different seat and go back to the start point.
Okay, go back to the starting point. And kids love her.
Yeah, the kids super love the BellaBot. And when the kids dining in the restaurant, when they see the BellaBot, and I believe that kids, they are all the first time to see the BellaBot, they feel, wow, this is so exciting. It's my first time to see BellaBot.
And if you rub her, she's like a little cat.
They can touch the ears or the forehead. Yeah, and the BellaBot can talk with the kids.
Talk with the kids. So really interactive. Noel O'Connor, Noel, is this the future? Is this where we're going?
Can I just say first, Deric, isn't this a fantastic example of technology and artificial intelligence in operation in a practical way in everyday life? I think Bella is an absolutely superb innovation. If you think about it, it can automate some of the more mundane, repetitive tasks that staff would otherwise have to do. Can carry up to 8 dishes at a time, thereby freeing up staff to spend more time with their customers. So overall improving the operations of the restaurant itself, but also the customer experience.
No, we're no stranger to AI technology because we're using Siri in our everyday lives. We also have drone food drops as well. That's kicking off. So, like, this is just an addition. It's just the next step.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see more and more of this as the technology progresses. I mean, you've already mentioned the companies which are delivering via drone, which is a very practical and attractive alternative to traditional ways of delivering consumer goods because it's potentially safer, more efficient, greener. And of course, there are many other applications for this type of technology. So consider or imagine Bella in a nursing home environment, for example, helping the nursing staff there with elderly patients to keep them socially connected, to again relieve the nursing staff of the more mundane traditional tasks, or even in a hospital, optimizing operations in a hospital, all the while making life easier for humans to better interact with other humans.
And of course, restaurants, a lot of places at the moment screaming out for staff. Can't get them.
Can't get them, yeah. And I think this is one way that you could potentially address that shortage. Now, I should say that Bella is no replacement for a human waiter or waitress because it doesn't have that personal interaction, but it can certainly help.
Now, Noel, is it your birthday?
It's not at the moment. March.
Okay, March. Well, this is a belated happy birthday. So here we go now. Look at this. Here we go. Live on national TV. Bella Bott is going to deliver a little birthday cake to you. She's swinging around here.
T03. Dear guest, your meal is ready. First, tray with blue light on is your meal. Be careful when picking it up.
Thank you very much, Bella.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Happy birthday, Noel. Back to you guys in studio. Bye, Bella. Off she goes. You couldn't make it up. The future of technology.
You could. It's a trolley. It's a trolley. So, and I'm after getting a message.
It's a trolley that sings Happy Birthday.
No, I was in a restaurant in Spain and they had one of these. So the person at the has to load it. Then it comes down. Now you take it off yourself. That's the thing. You take the food off yourself, and it turns around and goes back.
Like, I was thinking for waiter shortages, which we're seeing in all restaurants.
No, it's not going to replace that.
Is not.
So we got a fabulous text in. What did they do with the tips?
I'm getting
contactless.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting messages from people in Limerick going, we've had one of those in Limerick for years. Dublin is special. Yes, Jasmine Palace apparently has one in Limerick. I love a bit of the Jasmine Palace.
They have one for years.
Yeah.
Is it a person?
No, it's a robot. Again,
anyway.
It's more a trolley, right? That was just a moving. That was a trolley.
It is a moving trolley.
Listen, it's what we're seeing.
Right.
Things are going further, and as they're talking about the drones, you're doing food drops and AI. The things how it is accelerating is incredible. But I don't think that one's going to.
Because interestingly, you know, when things started getting more and more automated within the customer service industry a few years ago, when you'd be ringing up press 1, press 2, and they all had to revert back to humans. So, you know.
You still get it.
Yeah,
I was on a call the other day and I spoke to nobody and finished the call and got it all done without speaking to one person.
Really?
Yes.
Did you actually?
Where was it?
Well, that wasn't a very complex question. You obviously had. No.
How do I fix my... Turn it off and turn it back on again,
Alan?
Don't you? Is he blind?
Anyway, right.
Oh my good God.
Another one in. I don't know how I'd feel about a robot serving me my dinner. It's all about the personal interaction of the waiting staff and the charm of the Irish that you get, not the charm of a thing coming down to you.
It's gimmicky. Like,
it's a gimmick. That's all it is, a gimmick.
I can't see it being every restaurant.
But no, because the one that we were in Spain kept bumping into chairs. And then if you stood up and pulled your chair out, it just bumps into the chair. See, it says like table 37. It knows where table 37 is. But if there's somebody or a chair in the way, it just stops.
So it's like R2-D2 going into a wall. Continuing. And you know that people in that restaurant will be like, put the buggy in front of it. Put the buggy in front of it. See what happens. We're such lovely people.
Let us know what you think. Yeah, absolutely. Right, there's lots more Ireland to come.
We're back after this quick break.
We are, yeah. Welcome back to the final hour of Monday's Ireland AM. Still to come, he's among a growing contingent of retired rugby players who have been diagnosed with early onset dementia. Alix Popham will be chatting to us very shortly. An interesting discussion on the way. Over on the catwalk, we'll be there a little bit later on. Alan is with Rob. What's coming up?
Yes, well, whether you're heading to the gym or exploring the great outdoors, Rob Condon has you covered this morning. Good morning, Rob. It's all about the activewear.
Yes, all about activewear. So whether you're heading to the great outdoors or the gym, we have some great pieces. And as that leisure wear is coming more into our everyday wardrobe, we're going to look at how you can kind of mix and match it into your everyday wardrobe, whether it's heading for a walk or a coffee.
You dress up like that to go for a coffee.
You just add a denim jacket, add a bomber jacket. You're on the go, the school run.
Looking forward to that. That's coming up a little later on. Tommy, what else have we got?
Thank you very much, Alan. I'm being sent out to the rain here this morning, but I'm going to be finding out about a new plan for every primary school in Ireland to have their own vegetable garden. I think it's a brilliant idea. Terry and Nell have been planting, well, haven't started planting yet, Nell, but are you going to get our hands dirty later on?
Yeah, we're going to put seeds in and show you what our Grow at School DIY programme is like. That would have a garden in every school in Ireland over the next few years.
Fantastic. Like, I just think my kids would absolutely love this, and being okay to get their hands dirty.
Yeah, it's really important that every kid knows where food comes from and how to grow their own food, so we're dying to tell you more about it.
Love it. OK, we'll be doing that later on this hour.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. We're live here in Fairview in Dublin right across the morning. We're getting a bit of a breather from that rain we had earlier on, but as you heard there with Cliodhna at the top of the news, that status orange thunderstorm warning in place until, well, it's just lifting now, in fact, at 9 o'clock, and we are still seeing plenty of showers through parts of the western, across central, eastern and northern areas out there this morning. So a return to rain following that beautiful week of sunshine, those moderate to fresh northerly winds. Now, right across this afternoon, in fact, that status orange thunderstorm warning remaining in place for counties Carlow, Kilkenny into Wexford, Wicklow and for all of Munster until 4 p.m. Again, some heavy rain mixed in with some thunderstorm activity, a bit of lightning as well, so do keep an eye on your pets out there today. Because that rain is going to lean on the slightly heavier side, we could see a risk of flooding as well. So a bit of a washout in some parts out there this Monday, with top values of about 16 to 22, even 23. So still a lot of humidity in the air. Finally then, tonight it looks like it will be mainly dry and clear. Those showers will clear out. In behind it, we will see a good deal of cloud cover to break its way into tomorrow morning, but a return to improving conditions as we feed our way into your Tuesday, with overnight lows back to 9 to 14 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up in Fairview here at the moment. We'll catch again back live at 9:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
Now, you see Deric down in Fairview there. Now, the fact that Deric was in Fairview, he was at a restaurant there who had it's a robot waiter. A robot waiter.
It's a trolley.
It's like a robot Hoover.
Muireann just kept saying, it's a trolley. It's a trolley.
It's a mechanical trolley.
I love this though. We got a text in. Okuro in Cork has one of those robot waiters, and a real life waiter has to walk along with it to give you your food, and they don't seem to trust you with soup.
You wouldn't.
So if you're ordering the soup in Okuro,
you'll get it from a human.
You'll get it from a human.
You'll get it from
you wouldn't want it to have a step on the way out of the kitchen.
I love it. I don't trust you with the soup. But I was saying, I was in a restaurant and they did have one, and you put a chair or something in the way and the whole thing just stops.
It does, but it's fun, that we can talk about it.
And it was a bit of crack. We were also asking Deric, of course, the weatherman, talking about the thunder and lightning storms last night, and we asked if there any pictures there. So we have a picture from Emma in County Wexford. I think she has a picture of the lightning from last night. Let's take a look. Ooh, nice
the
shot.
pictures are amazing.
Cool.
And also Kevin is in Tremor in Waterford, and he sent us in a video this morning because if you are...
Look at that. Where was that?
That's in Waterford.
Isn't that frightening? That's like end of the world type stuff.
I just think it looks so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So fab. I couldn't stop watching the videos last night. And then it was Joanna Donnelly, fair play to her, one of our patron saints of weather, just going, lads, so this is what's happening, don't be afraid. She was before she went to bed last night, she told everyone what was happening with the thunderstorm, the cool air cooling down meeting, and boom.
So don't be afraid.
And
what
she
about
said,
if you're out
don't
walking,
be afraid. Night, night.
Anyway.
Well, that's the thing, like, when I used to love the stories, what's the thunder? It's God moving his furniture.
I forgot about that one.
Oh, he's got the big sofa's been moved last night. OK, coming up next, former Welsh back row star Alix Popham, who is campaigning for reform in rugby after his dementia diagnosis.
He'll be speaking to us after the break.
Now, with the Grand Slam and 33 caps for Wales, former Welsh rugby player Alix Popham was certainly a star of the game when a shoulder injury forced him into retirement.
Just a decade later, Alix was diagnosed with dementia and is now campaigning to make the sport a safer place. And Alix Popham joins us this morning. Alix, thank you so much for joining us this morning to have a chat. And of course, you two, obviously, like you played against each other, didn't you, Alix?
Scarlets, yes.
Yeah, Scarlets a few times when you were at the Ospreys and for Wales as well.
Yeah, you went up against each other.
Well, he doesn't have the big blonde locks that you had back then as well. I always stayed well clear when I saw the blonde hair come in my direction.
Look at you there. Look at that hair.
my Pat Sharp days. My Pat Sharp days.
That was back when Rory Best even had hair. Look at that. I mean, that's really going back.
That is going back a while. Yeah.
Listen, Alix, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. And listen, we're discussing a really serious topic at the moment, and your diagnosis of early onset dementia at the age of just 40. Can you talk to us about the diagnosis, or even at what stage, what happened that forced you and your wife, Mel, to have to go and get a checkup?
Well, at first, I was most probably in denial, putting it down to stress with everyday life. But I was struggling with short-term memory, having conversations with Mel. An hour later, having no recollection. My concentration was getting worse with even reading emails and not being able to take the information in and then reply. I was paying wrong people in work and sending bank transfers to the wrong companies. I was really struggling in group situations when lots of people were talking to take in the information. So I was coming out of board meetings with work and things like that, thinking, what was all that about? And as I said, I was putting that down to just everyday stress. But then I went on a bike ride, and it's a bike ride I've done over 100 times, and I had a blackout moment on this bike ride, and this was September 2019, and I phoned my wife and was pretty shook up. She said, cycle home the way you've just come from, and then went to the doctors the following morning.
Alix, you know, you're talking about these little things that happened, and you said that you're kind of denying it. But at the same time, you were so young, in your 30s and early 40s, when this is going on. So was it something that you just didn't think that it possibly could be early onset dementia? Or because you're a rugby player and you knew that this was something that was happening within the sport that people were talking about, that you did know that it was a possibility?
It wasn't being talked about then. This was two and a half years ago. It's only the last really 18 months since myself, Steve and Michael Littman went public with our news. So, I just, as I said, I thought it was stress, but I wanted it to get checked out because I was struggling more day to day with the simple things that you take for granted, but weren't as easy for me.
Listen, I played for 14 years professional rugby as well, Alix, and I know how far the concussion protocols have come now, but think back to, it was probably a little bit more lax in the early days, and I was reading you talk about back in the 90s, you know, maybe there was no protocols. I mean, what do you think the changes have been made in that space of time, and do you see that there's going to have to be a raft of new changes being made?
Yeah, I think at least we're talking about it now. In our day, it was taken as a bit of a joke. In video analysis, if anybody got knocked out and was walking around like Bambi, we used to rewind it and watch it again, and everybody within the room would be laughing. And it was, if it happened in training or in a game, you would just have sniffing salts and carry on. Now, yes, there are protocols, the HIA, but I'm part of a lobby group called Progressive Rugby, and it's every stakeholder in the game. We love rugby, but we still believe it's not safe enough, even with the return to play protocols that are currently in place.
When we're talking, because you've playing since you were like 4 years old, and you know, obviously when you're younger it's meant to be non-contact, but it gets to be contact at some stage. We've all seen young kids play rugby. But also, during your career, you were talking to your doctor. Can you talk to me about the sub-concussive space that you got? What does that mean?
So again, I've learned all this because I thought a concussion was when you were knocked out cold. But 90% of concussions are where you're not knocked out. And subconcussive hits are literally every contact that you receive, not just to your head, but to your body. And your brain inside your skull rattles round, and each contact is causing a little bit of damage. And that's how we worked out over my 14-year professional career. I had 100,000 subconcussions. When I started playing at 4, there was contact allowed then as well. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. These numbers soon add up, and that's why with what we're lobbying with Progressive Rugby, they have brought guidelines in of 15 minutes per week, but they need to make that mandatory. I'm speaking to players who went on the Welsh tour in the summer, and the Welsh team met for 6 weeks before going to South Africa, and I know they weren't doing the 15-minute guidelines of contact per week.
Yeah, I mean, and we see the game, it's so physical, the intensity as well. Do you still love the game, Alix? I mean, whenever you get this...
I still love rugby. Rugby's been my life, as I said, since the age of 4. I just think that we can do so much more during the week to make the game safer. I think the season is too long. We're in a 10, 11-month season, and the players haven't got the rest for their bodies, but also their brains in between season. I think that needs to be reduced massively. But also, as I keep saying, what we do in the week is what we can control, and let's limit the amount of contact players, make it mandatory. The NFL brought in mandatory contact in training 13 years ago, and rugby still hasn't.
I mean, how are you now, Alix? I mean, because I read an article with your wife, and I mean, the fear that she had, you know, you've got a young daughter and 2 older kids as well. Like, she was fearing that you won't be around to see her grow up. You might have to be in a home. I mean, it must be very frightening.
Yeah, as we said before we come on air, things have got easier since knowing, because I don't overcommit now with what I'm doing during the day with work or anything like that. I'm training for an Ironman in September. I'm eating a great diet. I've been away for experimental treatment, and things are better than where they were. But unfortunately, and there was an article last week with Alan Gilpin saying there's not 200 players involved. He's correct. There's not 200. There's over 200. Wow. And the numbers are growing daily. It's just gone live in Ireland a couple of weeks ago. It's about to go live, the legal case in Scotland in September, and France the same. These numbers are growing, and they're going to be into their thousands soon.
This is the legal cases that we can't go into too much, obviously, but there are legal cases being taken against the RFU, the WRU in Wales, in England. It's starting in Scotland. It's already started in Ireland, as you've said. But Alix, I'm wondering, because you're so young and you've done so much work on this in a short space of time in having had this diagnosis. And we know young children who are teenagers who really want to be professional rugby players, who train, train all the time. They're training like they're adults and their bodies are still growing and they're trying to prove themselves. Do you think they're paying attention to what it is that you and players are like you that are saying, going, this, you know, your career is short and you're going in for those massive hits, that they have to be more careful?
Yeah, I just think because the education is better, it can improve. I just think they've got to respect that injury when it happens, and it's more serious than pulling your hamstring or having a knee construction. You've got to give it the time to heal. And we were told, the only thing I think I can remember about concussion, were you feeling sick? No. If you weren't feeling sick, you carried on. There's a lot more now advice out there, but just listen to your body. And the next game, if you're not feeling right, sit it out and don't come back and don't go back into training until you're feeling 100%.
Yeah, I think that is something that's, you've seen that. And it's not up to the young players, because the young players all want to play the matches. And when you do have a hamstring injury, it's easy to diagnose, right, you're going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks. But with a head injury, it's very hard for you to stand up in front of your coach or in front of your doctor and say, I'm not feeling right. But I think that people like yourself coming on and being so open about this will just bring more awareness to it. And it's up to the coaches and the doctors and the parents to realise that something's not right and to take that time out.
Well, 100%. It needs to be taken out of the players' hand. Players are gladiators. They want to be on the pitch and play and performing. They don't want somebody else taking their spot. But if you know you've had a concussion, and I don't like the word concussion, I think we should call it what it is. It's a traumatic brain injury, and we got to get away from calling it a concussion or a sports concussion, because it dumbs down actually what's going on. But if it's taken out of the player's hands, the player's going to be in a much better place going forward.
Do you worry with all sports on this, though, Alex? Like, it's not just rugby. I mean, you see concussions in Gaelic football here in Ireland, in soccer, in the Premier League, clashes of heads. I mean, do you want... Where is it going to go?
It's a global problem in sport, and yeah, for a long time it hasn't had the education to players from a young age, and it's a difficult one, because these are contact sports. There are going to be concussions, but I think we've got to err on the side of caution and look after these players during the week and control the controllables, and that's the amount of contact they do during the week, as I said, and also the length of the season.
Well, it was terrifying looking at the documentary on Aaron Hernandez, who was involved in murders, the NFL player, who, after he had died, they did an autopsy on his brain, and his brain was so completely different from the amount of hits that he had taken during his career. It changed who he was as a person. So, Alex, if there is someone listening in right now and they've got kids, like, I'm sure they're terrified about this, a kid who wants to play rugby. You're playing from the age of 4. Like, is it the sort of thing that you're like, I don't think kids should be playing rugby, or what do you make of it?
I think there's so many positives from playing sport and contact sport. It's a difficult one. Like, after my diagnosis, I had my mum break down to me saying, I shouldn't have taken you to play rugby. And I said, Mum, you didn't know. And as long as mums and dads, junior mini coaches, and the referees take this seriously, then, as I said, we're going to be in a better position. But it's not an overnight results with this, and there's a long way to go. And it's something that you are, heavily involved in as well. We can see in your baseball cap, if you put it down there as well, Head for Change is a charity that you're just asking for positive change for brain health in sport. Yeah, we want people to be part of the solution, and so these great sports carry on. Yeah, listen, Alex, it's a pleasure to have you on with us this morning. And listen, continued progression with your health, and it's great to see you looking so healthy, and great chatting to you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Alix Popham there. It's very true. Do you worry about it?
Of course it's something you worry. And I think that there's something I read about Alex that, when you play the sport like rugby, you're happy to put your body on the line. But you don't want to put your brain on the line. No. And you're not aware of that. But listen... But you weren't aware, were you? Touch wood, I think, I'm okay at the moment, and I hope I will be. And there's hundreds, thousands of rugby players who
Well, you weren't
have
aware of this.
come
You
through
never,
okay.
when you started as a kid, you weren't thinking about this, I'm assuming.
No, but like I have had concussions over
You
my...
have?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And particularly subconcussive ones, because that's any sort of a knock and you're seeing a little bit of stars. But, you know, when you hear stories like Alex and Ryan Jones, who's just come out, and Ryan Jones is the guy who I played alongside with the Ospreys, with the Lions, and to hear... you know, some of the experiences he's had is quite frightening. But at the same time, the amount of good the sport does.
And it's trying to change.
So it's just about trying to...
Alix's organisation is headforchange.org.uk, by the way, if you want to check in on anything with that. And a huge thank you to him for taking the time on talking to us this morning.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. We've got a wee bit of a soaking here in Fairview in Dublin this morning. Don't forget, tomorrow morning we are coming to you from Ulster because we are heading up to Monaghan Town. So we'll be live from there tomorrow morning from 7. Anyway, final look at weather. Showery start here in the capital and elsewhere. Plenty of showers now to parts of the Midwest, into central and northern regions out there this morning in those moderate to fresh northerly winds with that status orange thunderstorm warning in place. And that thunderstorm warning this afternoon remains in situ for Carlow, Kilkenny into Wexford, Wicklow, and for all of Munster until 4 o'clock. Some heavy thunderstorm activity, some lightning thrown in for good measure because of all that humidity that's in the air at the moment, with some heavy rain once again leading to that ongoing risk of spot flooding. So do be mindful if you're out and about. Top temps of 16 to 22. And finally then tonight those showers will day out, mainly dry, clear and settled. So an improving start, you'll be glad to hear, and much drier as we work our way into your Tuesday morning, with overnight lows back to 9 to 13 degrees. And that's your final weather update here in Fairview in Dublin.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
Activewear, you can wear it all the time, not just when you're running.
Certainly can, but if you're tackling the outdoors or heading to the gym, stylist Rob Condon has you covered. Good morning.
Good morning.
So,
yes, we're taking a look at activewear this morning. We saw such an increase in sales in 2020, 2021. So people have continued to wear it in their everyday wear, not just for the gym, not just for heading to the great outdoors.
I love following
so
this French account that judges
morning.
all the tourists who wear activewear in Paris. It's amazing. We're going to start this morning with Sarah.
Yes,
Good
we're
morning,
starting with Sarah. So we've
Look at
gone
this.
really casual, cosy and comfy with this coord. Coords are huge at the moment. We're seeing them everywhere, both in fashion and in activewear. I think this is the perfect piece if you're heading for a walk, maybe if you're meeting someone for a coffee. It's that kind of in-between piece. The sunglasses are $7.99. They're at New Look. They're a gold aviator, rose tinted glass to these. Really cool piece to add to your sportswear wardrobe.
Now we're going to move on to the tracksuit because he's done that thing that's everyone
I was going to say,
the styling.
who wears their jumper like that?
Well,
everyone these days.
If the weather is warm and then it's going to...
but you literally just, over one shoulder?
It's a thing now.
Just over one shoulder and then tying it there at the middle. Great piece at $44.99. So it is a matching piece to the tracksuit bottoms, peach in colour. It's a sweater top, it's circular neck to it, and then underneath it we've gone with a vest top. Really lightweight, quite a crop vest top we've tucked it into this morning, but it's form-fitting as well. It's also available in black, but it's really light, so it's got to be breathable if you're in the gym, or if we have weather like we have had.
And you went all in with the bag as well, same tone.
Then the bottoms there at $1.99. Lightweight. They're really comfy, cosy piece, a little bit oversized. But if you want to make this a little bit more leisure wear, a little bit more grown, you could.
Okay, we're going to get your mic, I think, is gone, so we're going to come into you and get you a mic on. We'll go
So we're just going to look at
Can
Sarah.
I ask you, would you wear your jumper like that over your shoulder, tied into a knot?
Do you know what? I'm going to try to do it now. I normally put it over. So when you're in school, it was around the waist. You know, jumpers for goalposts. I do it a lot over the shoulders these days. I'm going to do it like this for Sarah.
So I might grab a jumper this afternoon now, throw it over my shoulder,
do something
tie
a
it
bit.
into a knot,
And we're good to go.
Sorted.
We've got
There you go.
I'm going to make you do it earlier on. But the bag there, you got a fashion water bottle as well.
Yes, I'm back and I have a fashion water bottle at $14.99 or $12.99 even for the water bottle there from New Look. They're available in various different colours, so if the pink isn't for you.
Now, the tackies are actual tackies. You can go running in those.
Yes, you can. They're Nike Renew, so they are runner.
Sarah's jumper,
Sarah's jumper just fell off. See, I was right. You shouldn't be just wearing it as a jumper.
No one
just
could
wear
see
it
that.
as a jumper and falling off.
You grabbed that so
could see
quickly.
that.
Well done, you.
And it's easy to get off and throw back on.
Well done, Sarah. Loving the work. Karina's here this morning. Hi, Karina.
Karina is with us here, and this is a perfect outfit if you are exploring the great outdoors. Sunglasses at $23.50. They're aviator style, silver frame to these sunglasses. Really great to add to your outdoor wardrobe. Then with this gilet here, I think it's a perfect piece as we come into autumn, winter.
Yeah.
Whether it's heading to the gym and you want that piece to throw on, €70, whether you're heading on the school run, it's not going to crease. It's that handy piece and it's great for layering as well.
Absolutely. Now, the T-shirt's a long line, isn't it?
It is a long line T-shirt. It's from Next Activewear collection. All of the stock this morning is available from West End Shopping Park. Really great T-shirt, comes in various different colours.
Yeah.
You're going to get that coverage because it is long line as well, but it's breathable. You can see the side panel onto it there, so you do have breathability and wick.
I love a long line T-shirt. I do. When I'm wearing leggings. The leggings then.
The leggings are €27. They're a black legging, and then you can see to the side piping in there. There's paneling. So there's a mix of pink, and just under the red T-shirt, there's also red, and you can see to the bottom of them. Then it's got a kind of mesh detail in there. So again, giving you breathability, which I think you want with leggings, and they
you're
are
not doing a 5K in these
Yeah,
runners,
but
though.
you can just see lots of mothers around the country putting this on for the school run, out for the morning, even going for coffee. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's an easy to wear outfit, and then with the shoes, exactly, you're not going to be running in them, but they work perfect with this at €33.
Absolutely. Thank you, Karina. Hannah's here with our third look.
Hannah is up with us next, and we've gone with a really cute, cool look here from Mountain Warehouse. So again, we're going with co-wards. You can see in activewear, co-wards are everywhere at the moment. First off, we've the jacket at $59.99. So this is a fleece-lined jacket. So if you are in the great outdoors, you want that, and it's a great layering piece as we get a little bit more.
Sticking to brief, he keeps on going great outdoors. Fair play to him. Good, I like it. Well done.
If you are getting into the great outdoors, yes, exactly. You made me say it again. You put it into my head there. €18 for the top. It's a crop top. What's great about it though is underneath it, it does have a built-in bra. So it's practical as well.
The top
as
has a built-in
stylish.
bra?
Yeah.
Yes. So underneath it, you've got it built in. With the bag then at $16.99, that's from Nike Factory Store. So for all your bits and pieces, your phone or whatever you might need. Leggings, they're a high-waisted legging. You always want to go with a high-waisted legging. It's going to give you better fit and shape. They are €48. Then the side paneling is matching back in.
Yeah,
lovely.
Snake skin. So really cool
nice.
piece,
Yeah.
But they are sold separately.
They are sold separately.
Right,
and if you wanted to bring them a bit more at leisure, we're heading for coffee, you could go with like a pink bomber jacket to make this a little bit more street
Like
and cool.
with your water bottle.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at you, he's got a water bottle in there as well.
The
With
water
they're
bottle is going
matching
to keep it
they're
warm,
matching your runners.
matching back in with those runners, yes. The water bottle at $8.50 there. And if you buy an item in the store, the water bottle comes half price.
Ah, there we go. Keeping you hydrated.
Yes,
We
keeping
need
you
drinks.
hydrated.
But where would you wear that though, Muireann? Would you wear
The
that
water
great
bottle.
outdoors?
I don't know. Must find out which great outdoors is his favourite. This is pure great outdoors now. Come on. Rob's going to kill me.
This is
He's never
available
gonna
from
come on
Nike Factory Store. Really cool piece as well. With this top, it's all about breathability. You can see it's quite see-through, so we've gone with a vest underneath it. It's a netted vest, so you're going to get that breathability from the vest, but also to the back of the T-shirt. It has a cutout netting to it as well. So again, you're getting air, and it's a dry fit T-shirt.
Okay, so those are proper training tops.
This is proper training
they're
tops,
great. Yeah.
With the leggings, the high-waisted hot pink leggings, purple stitch into these. Really great for shape. There's also pockets to the back of them, so for all your bits and pieces. The trainers then at $119.99, and they are a runner for in the gym, so they are a training runner. They're a Metcon Nike runner.
I love that, and Sarah was showing that there's a pocket there. I wouldn't buy leggings without where you can't put your phone. Those ones are lovely now. I have to say.
Exactly, and they're all available at West End Shopping Park in Blanchardstown.
And we'd wear them where?
The great outdoors.
We're going for a coffee.
Yeah, there you go.
Rob Condon, thank you for putting up with me.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Now up next, a hands-on lesson for school kids on growing your own food.
We'll see you in just a few minutes.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, a new programme aims for every primary school to have their own vegetable garden by the end of the decade.
I absolutely love this. I think it's a brilliant idea. Nell Ward and Terry Cole from Grow It Yourself are here to tell us a little bit more. And Isabella, Sophia and Tara will be coming to you, girls, very shortly. Look at that. They're going to be working hard planting. Tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so GIY's food education programme is called Grow at School, and it's our aim to have a school garden, a bit like this, in every primary school in Ireland between now and 2030. So we have a big plan to roll a school garden out to 1,600 schools between now and 2024. Brilliant. And the reason this, I suppose, is that we want, number one, that every school kid knows has the skills and knowledge to grow their own food. Secondly, that just like every kid knows like the food system and kind of understands where food comes from. And I suppose GIY have run kind of school programs and food education programs for the last 10 years, and over kind of 1 million school kids have taken part. We've done a lot of trial and error. We know, got feedback from teachers, you know what works, what doesn't work. And now we have Grow at School, which is a program that's ready for scale and ready to go. So
and it's
really
ready to go, but you need to raise 3.2 million because the government are not funding this in any way.
No, the purpose is that there should be no cost to the schools, because we think it's really important that Grow at School is embedded in the school system and in the curriculum. So yeah, absolutely, we need 3.2 million to roll out to 1,600 schools. It's approximately €2,000 per school. Now what that gives you is all the kit and then also the long-term support. So it's a long-term investment. So we're delighted we've raised over €500,000 so far from philanthropic givers and companies, but a long way to go yet. So it's a really, really important programme to invest in.
We need to get the girls going here. Isabel, I suppose I've got this. What are you going to be growing here? What are you going to be planting?
So Tara's going to be planting
carrots.
He is planting radish. And I'm planting
beetroot.
Beetroot. Okay, so they're planting away. So this is similar to what they get, what the school gets. So tell me about like the feedback that you've been getting from teachers who are saying how important this is for the students to be doing this type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a lot of feedback from teachers who, you know, they comment on the kind of physical and mental health benefits that the garden brings the students, as well as the learning. So, you know, the kids are moving around in the garden, they're really active, they're kind of getting hands-on experience in an outdoor learning environment. So teachers are bringing the cross-curricular kind of subjects in, they're engaging in experiments, and they report back that a lot of students feel calm in the garden, they feel very relaxed.
And it's really clever. Like, it's something my kids, I love trying to get, and they love getting dirty and messing and learning.
Yeah, and apparently they love weeding.
Weeding?
Mine not so much. But like, even to learn to grow your own carrots, to grow your own radishes, like it'll help for them even opening up their dietary requirements as well, and actually getting them eating more.
Yes. Yeah, and we know as well from all the food growing programs we run at GIY that when people and kids start growing some of their own food, they develop what's called food empathy. And food empathy is all these changes in knowledge and understanding and behaviour that happens when you start growing your own food. So, like you'll see here, if you grow a carrot and, you know, it turns out a bit wonky, you know, you're not going to not eat it because you know where it's come from. And similarly, so like you're less likely to waste food. There's also, I think, you know, kids are more connected with nature, so that they see a green, like a lettuce, you know, and they go, like they're excited to eat it because they've grown it themselves. So it's all about getting those greens in.
And I love the fact that you said on the feedback as well that students and young kids like this, they opened up more and there was more conversation and maybe more things talking about mental health or different things like that. That just by doing this, they chatted more than maybe just being in the structure of a schoolroom.
They absolutely do. So it's not just with their peers as well, but teachers say that they have a stronger bond with their students. And I think that's really important too, because, you know, a teacher gets in the garden and it's kind of like you're all on the same level. You know, the teacher isn't going to be able to identify every plant or weed or flower that's growing, and you're just all learning together.
Okay, well, we have to ask girls how they're getting on. Isabella, what did you plant there?
So
I'll hold it.
So I planted my beetroots there, and I really can't wait to eat it.
And is it something that you'd love to do more in school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Sophia, what did you plant?
Radish. And I like planting stuff because I like getting dirty and like patting stuff down on the ground.
And Tara, I'd say you're only 4, aren't you? She's such a big girl. And do you like this? Is this good fun? Yeah. Very good.
Tell me what the school gets then. They get, what do they get? What is the pack that comes
And how do they find out how they can get involved in it?
Yeah, so you can get involved by going on our website, the Grow at School page. They can register.
Grow at School.
Grow at School,
Grow at
GIY.
School.
Yeah. They can register there, and then they get a garden kit, which comes with 4 raised beds. They're 1 metre squared right now.
1 metre squared, yeah.
Yeah, well, kind of similar, but they're more on the flat surface. They also get 15 types of seeds to grow throughout the year, and then a ton of learning supports.
These are all
all the seeds down the front.
That's a brilliant idea. So you're just trying to raise money and raise awareness, really, Terry.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. We want to, as I said, roll the school garden out to 1,600 schools. We want in every school in Ireland over the next few years. And the really important part as well is that there's a really strong support network in for teachers. So there's teacher training, there's lesson plans. It's all we want to be tied into the curriculum. So that's the really important thing. So we want loads of support to roll it out.
It's a brilliant initiative. You can see how much
to sign up.
fun the two girls are having here as well. Terry Cole and Nell Ward from Grow It Yourself. Thank you so much for talking to us. And Isabella, Sophia and Tara, enjoy the rest of your holidays.
Thank you.
Okay, back inside to Muireann to tell us all about me. I'm going to be in Monaghan.
Yes, tomorrow Tommy heads home to Monaghan and he's bringing us along for the ride. He'll be chatting to Ardlo Hanlon, local producers, and checking out the sites on offer. And there's lots happening here in studio as well. We'll talk to you tomorrow from 7 on Ireland AM. Have a good day. Bye.